Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama. Om Jnantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 16 verse 23. Yaha shastra vidhim utsrijya vartate kamacharataha nasa siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. He who discards the injunctions of scripture and acts according to his whimsical desires attains neither perfection, happiness, nor the supreme destination. In the previous verses, Shri Krishna had explained that unless one is able to control lust, anger, and greed, one cannot become free from the hellish life, because these three are the cause of all the other demoniac qualities. Now, how does one control them? It's only by following the injunctions of the scriptures. One who neglects them is never able to control these demoniac qualities. Shri Krishna is again emphasizing that in this verse, stating that if one neglects the scriptural injunctions and instead of acting as per the rules and regulations described in the scriptures, he acts according to his own whimsical desires, then what is the result? He will neither attain perfection, neither material perfection nor spiritual perfection, and neither will he attain any real happiness nor deliverance from the cycle of birth and death. See, the mind is the cause of all our problems. It is the reason why we are entangled in the material world. And the mind is full of material desires, and it is the one which is pushing us to enjoy various objects of sense gratification. So if we act according to what our uncontrolled mind wants, then we will invariably commit sinful activities and suffer from their results. The scriptures provide us the guardrails. They provide us the rules by following which we can control the mind, because the tendencies of the mind is to enjoy. But the scriptures tell us that we have to control the senses, and they provide the processes like sadhan bhakti yoga, the various processes by which we can calm down the urges of the mind. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states in the commentary that theism is most auspicious, meaning devotion to the Lord is the most auspicious thing, because when the mind is engaged in devotional service, then its urges to enjoy material senses calm down. So for this purpose, Sri Bhagwan is speaking this verse. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj states in the commentary that as described before, the Shastra Vidhi, or the direction of the Shastra means the scriptures, is given to the different castes and orders of human society. This is called the Varnashram Dharma. So based on one's Varna, which means according to one's position in the social order. So whether one is a Brahman, which is the scholarly class, whether one is a Kshatriya, which is the warrior class, whether one is Vaishya, which is the business or the mercantile class, or one is Shudra, which is the labor class. And again, remember, these classes are not based on birth, not based on one's family, but these are strictly based on one's qualities and one's activities. So, in every society we have these social orders. But what one is supposed to do in each one of these classes is not given in any constitution of any country, and therefore people end up acting whimsically. Those who are in the mercantile class, for example in business, they follow all corrupt practices to make business, to hoard money, to profiteer, whereas this is not as per the scriptures. Similarly, those who are the rulers or the warrior class, the Kshatriyas, they are supposed to serve the society by taking care of them. And again, we see so much corruption in the government, and this is again against the scriptural injunctions. Those who are teachers are supposed to selflessly teach the students. So these are the rules and regulations that are described according to the class, and similarly according to one's phase of life. So brahmacharya, which is when one is going through education and is supposed to focus on studies. Then is the grihasth, which is the householder life. Then vanpras, when one starts detaching oneself from the family life. And ultimately sannyas, which is the renounced order. So this society, this varnashram dharma was structured so that by following the rules and regulations of varnashram, one can start controlling the whimsical mind. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto, chapter 10, Shri Krishna says to Udhav, Maya udeshit uditeshu avahitaha swadharmeshu mat ashrayah varnashram kulacharam akamatma samacharet. The Lord said that taking full shelter in me, with the mind carefully fixed in the devotional service of the Lord, as spoken by me, one should live without personal desire and practice the social and occupational system called varnashram. So Shri Krishna is there also instructing. Why? Because in our conditioned stage, in the preliminary stage, following the varnashram dharma, the Daivi varnashram, is very powerful method to control both the urges of our own mind as well as the disorderliness in the society. So Swami Maharaj states that everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of mankind. So this is the difference between Gyan and Vigyan, between knowledge and science. What use is that knowledge if one does not apply it to his life? Then it's only bookish knowledge, just in the books. A simple example, when you buy a pack of cigarette, it clearly states on that smoking is injurious to health. So you know that if I smoke, it would be harmful. But you still end up smoking. People end up smoking because they are not able to control their lust. So this type of knowledge does not lead to happiness, because smoking, consuming alcoholic beverages and similar things, intoxicants, will ultimately harm one's health. So even though we know, but we still don't follow it. So therefore, such people are not very intelligent. In the human form of life, a living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he degrades himself. See, nowadays we do not like to read the scriptures, and generally people think that the scriptures are very unscientific. That is a great misconception. The scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam provide a perfect blueprint for us to live the human life properly and utilize it for the highest purpose, which is to attain Krishna consciousness and to become free from the cycle of birth and death in which we have been suffering since time immemorial. So therefore one should be very conscious of this and should not waste one's life in following whimsical mind. Instead, by following the regulations given in the scriptures, one should elevate one's consciousness to a higher level. But even if he follows, so Sri Swami Maharaj states, but even if he follows the rules and regulations and moral principles and ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. So the important thing is that following the rules and regulations should lead us to the goal of life, which is to understand the Supreme Lord and attain his loving devotional service. If one follows rules and regulations simply for the sake of following them, more from a ritualistic perspective, then it is of no real benefit. It is only useless labor. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, Chapter 2, it states, Dharmaha swanushtitaha punsam vishwaksena kathasu yaha na utpadayat yadi ratim shram evahi kevalam. That the occupational activities a man performs according to his own positions are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. So if one follows the Varnashram Dharma, but only is following for material gains or as a ritual, then even after following these rules and regulations, he will not develop a desire for devotional service, for Hari Katha. So here it says in Bhagavatam that for such people, following those rules is simply useless labor. Further, Sri Swami Maharaj says that, and even if he accepts the existence of God, if he does not engage himself in the service of the Lord, his attempts are spoiled. Meaning, just accepting the Lord is not enough. One has to have some practical engagement. One should practically apply oneself to the service of the Lord and his devotees. Therefore, one should gradually raise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness and devotional service. It is then and there that he can attain the highest perfectional stage, not otherwise. So, the purpose of every activity, whether one is following Varnashram Dharma or one is following any spiritual practice, the real goal should be to develop one's Krishna consciousness. But again, one has to remember that this has to be done according to the scriptural rules. Even devotion to the Lord in a conditioned stage, if we try to develop it without following the rules and regulations, the prescriptive method of sadhan bhakti, shravanam, kirtanam, Vishnu smaranam, and just through mental speculation try to become a devotee, then again it will cause great misgivings or anarthas. Shri Gurudev quotes from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu stating that unrestrained people who disregard the codes of scriptures cannot attain the highest destination. Shri Rupa Goswami states in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Vidhim Vina Ekantiki Hare Bhaktir Utpataeva Kalpate. Although engaged in exclusive devotion to Sri Hari, if one transgresses the regulations mentioned in the Shruti, Smriti, Purans and Narad Pancharatra, great misgivings or anarthas are produced. So both things are important. One, we have to follow bhakti process as per the descriptions in the scriptures as described by the Lord himself, as he is saying to Uddhav in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And secondly, if we follow the rules and regulations, the goal should be to develop pure devotional service. Otherwise, following those rules and regulations is useless labor. Now here, in the first line of this verse, Shri Krishna says, Vartate Kam Charataha. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that Kam Charataha means to act whimsically, and it leads one to hell. So meaning when one acts just as per the orders of the mind will never take us down the right path. So if one acts simply as per one's mental speculation, then it leads to a hellish life. So only those who are theists are sadhus, and only they attain the supreme destination. Those who are atheists go to hell. This is the essence of this chapter. In some versions of Bhagavad Gita, instead of Kam Charataha, it states Kam Karataha. The meaning is similar. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj states in the commentary that the word Kam Karataha is very significant. A person who knowingly violates the rules acts in lust. So Karataha means the work or the activities, and Charataha means the behavior. So they are basically the same meaning of both the phrases. So he knows that this is forbidden, that these activities are forbidden, but still he acts. Just like we were giving the example of someone smoking a cigarette, he knows that cigarette smoking is not good for health, that it is forbidden, but still he does it. Similarly, one who has the understanding of the scriptural injunctions, but if he still does not follow them and acts as per the lusty desires of the mind, then this is called acting whimsically. Now, one who is ignorant about the rules and regulations, if he commits something wrong, then he still has an opportunity for being pardoned. But one who knows what the rules are, so especially those who are in the Brahmanical class, the priestly class, the educators, they are the ones giving this knowledge to others, and they know what is right and what is wrong. But still, because of uncontrolled senses, if they themselves indulge in activities that are against the scriptural injunctions, then they are certainly condemned. So Sri Swami Maharaj says he knows that this should be done, but still he does not do it. Therefore he is called whimsical. Such persons are destined to be condemned by the Supreme Lord. Such persons cannot have the perfection which is meant for the human life. See, it is through knowledge only that one's lusty desires are burnt, through transcendental knowledge. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it says in the 10th canto, 87th chapter, Kamam Kamanam Bharjanam Nrinam, that meditate on these instructions concerning the science of the self, which burn up the material desires for all men. So such knowledge also, if one is trying to acquire, but at the same time if he commits offenses or does not apply himself sincerely, then even after trying to attain such knowledge, one may fall prey to lusty desire. So such persons cannot have the perfection which is meant for the human life. Sri Swami Maharaj states, the human life is especially meant for purifying one's existence, and one who does not follow the rules and regulations cannot purify himself, nor can he attain the real stage of happiness. So without purification, there is no real happiness. Just like contaminated water cannot be consumed, it cannot nourish you. So you first have to purify it of all its impurities. Similarly, a contaminated mind, a mind which is contaminated by all kind of unwanted desires, by lust, greed, anger, jealousy, and so on, can never give us any kind of happiness. So only a pure mind gives us real happiness. In this age of Kali, the real way to purify the mind is to hear Harikatha, to engage in Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto, Chapter 6, Lord Brahma in his prayers to the Lord says, Yani te charitani ishaha manushyaha sadhavaha kalo shrinvantaha kirtayantascha tarishyanti anjasa tamaha. My dear Lord, those pious and saintly persons who in the age of Kali hear about your transcendental activities and also glorify them will easily cross over the darkness of the age. So the process of hearing the holy name, the pastimes, the qualities, etc. of the Lord is very, very powerful. So we should sincerely apply ourselves to it and thus purify our mind and become free from all the demoniac qualities. Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe. Have a very blessed day.